Hello everyone, my name is Cameron Ventimiglia, and I'll be going over a demonstration of what we kind of completed during our second sprint. So the first thing I'm going to be showing you guys is a little bit of front end stuff. Basically, we added the check to see if the file being submitted is a JSON file. So basically how this works is once the store method is being called, it'll create a string called file name, and the file name will be set to the multipart file .get original file name. Basically what this does is it just gets the original file name. So if the file was called text.json, it'll just return text.json in a string form. And then we get this next part is getting the last index where the character of the dot occurs from the first part of the extension. And then we create another string called extension, and we take the file name and then we call the method substring, and we use the last index as a starting point, and then we go all the way to the end of the string, just because the extension is at the last part starting at the dot character. So once we do that, we check to see if the extension equals JSON, and if it doesn't, it's going to throw this exception. So let me just demonstrate that real quick. I have the server up and running, and as you can see, we also have the HTML file for the website already made. So if we come down here to where we can input the file, let me just make this bigger. So I'm gonna choose a file. Let me go down to just a random file. I'm gonna choose this one. So cutting bat, as you can see, it's docx. So if I click upload, we get this error, right? So if we go back to Eclipse, you can see that the server failed to store non-JSON file, right? So that's kind of what works. And so now we can just check to see if submitting an actual JSON file works. So let's go to downloads, let's go here, and choose any of these. As you can see, it's .json. So once we click upload, you can see the file has been uploaded here. Another thing we have now is we actually have storage within our local machine. You can see it's called upload directory. So every file uploaded from the website comes into here, upload directory. So if I just refresh this, you can see how the exhaustive quadratic equation solver.json has been stored, and let's just verify that's the same file, exhaustive quadratic solver. And so as you can see, it's been there. So that's kind of what we have on the front end so far. We still got a lot of work to do, but it's kind of what we have so far. Next, we want to show you a little bit about the back end, where we've been trying to work on combinations. I've been using the old file parser that we had just for comfortability while I try to come up with a solution. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to comment this out real quick, and then I'm going to take this out. So basically what we have right now is we have three methods called combos 3param, combos 4param, combos 5param. This isn't what we want to keep as our final solution. It's more of a temporary thing, just to check to make sure we kind of have something to show of like where we want to be. So I'll show you kind of what works. So if we choose this file execution queue on save, let me open it real quick in Notepad++. My bad. So if we go to execution queue on save, you can see how this class has three parameters. So interface, edit state, run state, and execution type. So it'll fall under the first if statement, right? And basically that's what it does. If the array list has a size 3, which means it has 3 parameters, we'll use this one, and so on. So if I save this and then run, you can see how we have all of the parameters and the equivalence classes, but we also have all the combinations listed, right? And the way we know that the combinations are right is if you come back here, when you're calculating combinations, you can pretty much just do the total number in the first set, the second set, and the last set. In this case, it'll just be the first, second, and third, but this applies for any type of parameter amount. So this one has 2 equivalence classes, so it'll be 2 times the 4 in this one, which would be 8, so 2 times 8, or 2 times 4 is 8, and then you take the 8, multiply it by the 2, you take the 8 and multiply it by the 2, and you get 16 different combinations. And then my fault, I clicked the wrong thing. And so as you can see here, if we were to count these, they would be there would be 16 different combinations. But once I go down to the method, you can see how the methods really aren't that good, just because it's still very static. It requires a lot of processing and hard coding. And then once you get down to 10 plus parameters, this for loop is just going to be, this nested for loop is just going to be long and longer and longer, you know. It's going to be, you know, n to the, or 2 to the n amount of times, right? Or n to the amount of for loops, right? So it's just going to keep getting longer and longer and longer. So our goal right now is to try to come up with something more uniform. And so far what we have is this method called create combos. And if I was to save this and then run it, my fault, I gotta actually call it for it to work. So save it and run it. You can see we have combinations here. The problem is the combinations are redundant, so I'll show you. When using the same file, this is the correct amount of combinations with the correct form. This is the one that we have in this current method that we're trying to figure out. As you can see, the first 8 are unique. The problem is after the first 8, the next 8 are copies of the first 8. So we still have to figure out what's going on with that. We have to fix that. Then there's also a problem when running it with certain parameter amounts that causes the file not to, or the method not to run correctly. So we have to figure that. So basically that's kind of what we have right now. Yeah, that's pretty much the demonstration I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.